Hello, everyone. My name is Matt Pickett. I'm going to be doing my SPED talk on the Flask framework. It is a framework to be used with Python, and it's pretty cool. So what is Flask? This right here is the logo. So basically, it's a framework, and it provides you minimal tools for web applications. More accurately, though, it's called a micro framework. A micro framework would mean it has little or no dependencies on external libraries, and Flask uses very minimal, and that makes a difference when trying to figure out the setup and all that's needed to go into your application. I've been more recently developing with Heroku, so a lot of my experience and opinions on this are going to be in comparison with Heroku development and hosting. So Flask only has two dependencies. The one on the left, Workzug, is a German word, but it's basically just a WSGI, a web server gateway interface, and it provides some necessary things to be able to have an app, a web application, which would include, some debugging tools, HTTP protocols, a threaded server, test client, things like that to make, it accessible to Apache. Another thing that's great with Flask, the great dependency is Jinja 2. This is a template engine, and it's honestly really great. I've never done anything like this before with basically using templates in my development. It makes it possible to use the same or similar layouts, so it just creates a common theme, and it really makes your application very customizable as well. Yeah, so it only has those two dependencies. So just to kind of explain like how easy and great Flask is, I wanted to just show a simple Hello World app. So basically, this is all you would need on your Python page, your Python script. So you would just need to import Flask. You would give this is a class inheritance pointing to your app, and then you have a simple function that says hello world. This app.route is basically referring to the URL of the app, and there you have it. It will just print out the words hello world on your web page. This down here, the if name equals main, that's only necessary if you want to have the debugger active. And I really like the debugger, so I have it active. And then on your bash or your shell, you would just basically need to set your environment variable to your Python page, your Python script, and then you run the Python page. And what pops up is your local hosting URL. And so that's great. And in comparison with Heroku, just to be able to work with a web application and a back end and have it be dynamic and easily debugged without having to go through, pushing to Heroku and commits and all that, it makes it real easy. Something that is maybe not so great about Flask is that the file configuration can be difficult. Basically, what you'll need to do is have you have two folders within your tree, one for templates, one for static, which is really just for CSS files. Your templates are going to be your basic pages, HTML files like your index, home, about pages, whatever you want to make your app about. Um, and then another thing that's very cool with Flask is just using rendering your. It's called the render template function. So basically, you can see up here if you want to add a new or alter create a new page for your application, you just specify right here that in the route that this page is going to be called hello. So you have your function defined hello, and that is going to return the template hello.html, which would be held in your template folder. And that's really easy. That makes everything very visual and easy to handle when running an application. And if you want to pass in variables to the web page, I have here just a variable name. It equals Matt, and then you pass it in name equals name. So you pass it into your render template. To the about page, here's the variable. And to access that variable, you would go in and use this syntax to refer to that passed in variable. So that's pretty simple when talking about web application and hosting and whatnot. And it's a micro framework, so it's very lightweight. My favorite feature has to be the debug mode, though. I make a lot of mistakes, and when you have the debug mode turned on, you basically get directed to, this is just a screenshot of when an error happens, and it just specifies in real, you know, plain and easy to understand language what's going on, and that makes it very easy. So there are some pros and cons. I would say the pros of Flask is that it's very easy to learn and start up. It's lightweight, and it's also powerful, so that you're not sacrificing power for a lightweight functionality. Some of the cons, though, I would say, in my experience, it's just the lack of database and forms that are accessible with other kind of platforms. But all in all, I really recommend using Flask, and I'm using it for my project, and I think it's great. So thank you.